My speech today is a ceremonial speech talking about paying tribute to Theodore Roosevelt. So, to start off with, a quote from Roosevelt is, "Great thoughts speak only to the thoughtful mind, but great actions speak to all mankind." So, basically, I get my sources from the White House, a biography page about him, quotes, history, something from the University of Virginia, and more history. So basically what I'm talking about is some of his obstacles, some of his accomplishments, and a couple of benefits for society. So to transition here, some of the quote I thought was really good. Great men hallow a whole people and lift up all who live in their time. And this is a pretty indicative of his presidency. So first, his struggles. He was born with a weak heart. He's also had debilitating asthma, so he was homeschooled for much of his life. But when he was a teenager, his father kind of convinced him to get onto like a pretty strong workout routine. And so he got into weightlifting, gymnastics, and wrestling. And eventually he ended up going to Harvard. His father died when he was at Harvard, but he pressed on through it. And then eventually his mother and first wife ended up dying on the same day, some years before his presidency. And after that, he actually went and spent a good 2 years in the Dakota Territory, where he lived as like a cowboy and a rancher, just trying to get his life together. But I mean, through all those obstacles, he became the president of the United States, so he's kind of a badass. The next thing we'll talk about is accomplishments, and the first being his expedited process for finishing the Panama Canal. And then he was also colonel of the Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War. He received a posthumous Medal of Honor for his efforts in the war. He's also known as a trust buster. He was really big on breaking up monopolies under the Sherman Antitrust Act during his presidency. He had the corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, which basically stated that the U.S. is pretty much the police force for the entire Western Hemisphere. And he ended up winning a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts in ending the Russo-Japanese War in the 1890s. And he's considered by many scholars and historians to be one of the best U.S. presidents. And as such, his face was eventually added to Mount Rushmore along with Washington, Jefferson, and Lincoln. So, another quote by Roosevelt is, "People ask the difference between a leader and a boss. The leader leads and the boss drives." So finally, his benefits to society. He was an avid lover of big game hunting, of animals, and conservation. And he's also a huge explorer. He went on many safaris in Africa, throughout Europe, throughout China. And because of this, we owe nearly, 200 million acres of national forest and parkland because of Roosevelt. He's just really big in belief of conservation and preserving for future generations what you have. So, to conclude, I talked about some obstacles, his accomplishments, and benefits of society. And finally, to leave with this, heroes get remembered, but legends never die. And that perfectly describes Theodore Roosevelt. Thank you.
Well,